Hello, everybody in Survey of American Film. This is week 2 of this home instruction, and I really enjoyed your comments on Citizen Kane and the way you looked at some of the elements in it. As we go forward, I've chosen The Quiet Man as our next movie. Originally, we were going to watch Grapes of Wrath, but since you'd have to pay for that to see it, and I can't bring it into class and show it to you, I found a free version of a John Ford film, which is The Quiet Man, which is a glorious film and one of certainly Ford's masterpieces. I'm ready to talk to anybody in this upcoming discussion thread about Grapes of Wrath or The Searchers or some of Ford's other famous movies. Some of his classics are some of the most important films ever made. When Orson Welles was asked who he admired as a filmmaker, he said, I always was influenced by the old masters, said Orson Welles, and he said, and by the old masters, I mean John Ford, and John Ford. And that's true. Orson Welles, when he wanted to learn how to make movies, he sat and screened the movie Stagecoach 30 times and watched the movie over and over and over again. He learned how to make movies by watching John Ford. One thing you might want to know about John Ford, and here he is in our book, and you should read the little passage. There's John Ford reclining as he directs. What a wonderful image that is. And Ford always had the sunglasses on because he had one bad eye. He would also wear an eye patch, and they called him Patch. This is page 248 to 250, and you can read about his whole career and his interaction with the legendary John Wayne. There he is, so you can take a look at that as well. John Wayne and Ford made a lot of movies together, and The Quiet Man is one of the best. So let's begin. The Quiet Man is Ford's tie-in to his homeland, his ethnic homeland, Ireland. And Ford's American, but he really loved his Irish heritage. And he really wanted to celebrate Irish culture and its history and Irish Catholic culture, but he even includes Irish Protestant culture in this film. And he even has the IRA, the Irish Republican Army, in this film. So you might want to notice there's a lot of interesting elements about the politics and structure of Ireland. As you watch it, look for some basic things. Look for the beautiful saturated green colors, the green that looks like the Emerald Isle from postcards. It never looks prettier, it never looks more like a fantasy than it does in this movie. Some of the movie is shot on location. You can actually go to the Quiet Man Bridge in Ireland and actually stand in the place where John Ford stands in the movie. But very often when he's standing on that bridge, it's actually a location. It's not a location, it's actually a studio recreation of it. But sometimes you'll see the full bridge in another shot. So notice that what they did was, in all old Hollywood movies, is if they did location shooting, they couldn't control the sound, they couldn't control the audio, they couldn't control the light the way they could in a studio. So they would do some location shooting, try to get perfect shots, and then they would match that in the studio with some close-ups and some rear projected backgrounds. But some things are just shot silently, and then they might add dialogue or music over it. And some of those are the most glorious shots in this movie. John Ford would always shoot John Wayne with an upward camera angle at a low horizon so that you can see John Wayne against the blue background. A lot of the times he looks like a giant or he looks like a god against this blue background, the blue sky. So I want you to notice how some of the framing is legendary, the way John Ford shoots John Wayne. The other thing that you might want to notice as you look at it is just the way the landscapes and the people are all created and filmed so beautifully. Ford was known for loving wide vistas, and he created all the great cowboy and Western movies like Stagecoach and She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, where you can see glorious mesas and deserts behind John Wayne. This time, it's not deserts, it's not mesas, but it's beautiful Irish hills and countryside. So look at that. But of course, my favorite thing about the movie is the romance story. This is a genuine romance film. We had a little romance in Casablanca. We had a little romance in in Singing in the Rain. There's a lot of musical in that one too. This one is a genuine romance all the way through, and I think you'll like the ending too. But it shows the complications in a genuine romantic comedy, romantic drama. It's a little of both. Little of both. Maureen O'Hara is the love interest, and she was raised in Ireland. That's an authentic accent that you hear from her. And she is speaking in the kind of vernacular that my own grandmother spoke in, my grandmother being from Galway, my grandfather from Roscommon, Ireland. One of the things you might want to notice is that the movie is deeply erotic. There are many it uses shadows, it uses rain, it uses wonderful location images in the twilight, or in the just this wonderful scene when John Wayne first encounters Maureen O'Hara and she walks away from him but looks back at him with these flaring eyes. Take a look at that scene. The shadow and light in that scene is legendary. Take a look also at the churchyard scene where the rain breaks out suddenly. You see a great wind, and then they get soaking wet, and this is one of the famous erotic scenes. Look also at the fight sequence between Victor McLaglen and the great, huge actor Victor McLaglen and John Wayne. Two giant presences. You had to get these two guys to fight each other because you would never have found two bigger guys. And interestingly enough, Victor McLaglen had been a major character in a lot of John Ford's early movies. He made a wonderful movie called The Informer about the Irish Republican Army, and Victor McLaglen, an Irish actor, had been in that film. Now he's back here with John Wayne 20 years later. He'd made a number of movies with Wayne and a number of movies with Ford. Lastly, please notice this wonderful ensemble cast. You're never going to find more extraordinary actors. Arthur Shields, who plays the Reverend Playfair. Barry Fitzgerald, who is known for being this diminutive Irish imp who has such a great sense of humor and wisdom. And then, of course, Victor McLaglen and Ward Bond, who plays Father Lonigan. Look at these characters. They are always in John Ford's movies. They come back again and again. All right, thank you. Take a look at my notes, my lecture notes. Take a look at the many memorable sequences in Quiet Man. Pick out a couple of sequences that you can really talk about. Definitely have details from the movie itself in your comments. Have a great one. Bye-bye.